Hey, how's it going?
Did it work?
It's working. We're here. How are you?
I'm so glad.
You just got done training?
Well, training clients. Just kind of finished up for the night. So I'm really glad it worked because I was nervous about this all day.
I am too. I'm excited. I don't know exactly where to start with you. You're an IFBB pro. You represent Arkansas well. You've been all over the place in bodybuilding. You entered NPC online and all sorts of other things as well. I guess I'll just sort of start open-ended with that. How would you sum up your involvement in bodybuilding?
So I've actually always been pretty active in sports for my entire life. So as a child, I would participate in just about anything and everything I could. And I always took it upon myself if I wasn't good at a particular sport, I would do what I could to ensure that I would be better. And for whatever reason, I just always liked the challenge. And when I was 12, that's when I actually took on powerlifting. So I began powerlifting when I was 12 years old, loved it, and then the rest is kind of history, you know? So I remember even as a kid buying Flex magazines and just being like completely obsessed with all of these bodybuilders within the magazine. So I've always been kind of mesmerized with the industry within bodybuilding. So I don't know, just as a child, I just kind of continued to evolve and adapt. And once I was over powerlifting, I was like, why not try bodybuilding? So that's what I did. And I stepped on stage for my first show in 2012.
Okay. I'll sort of back up a little bit to starting up. Did you grow up in Arkansas? Are you from
No,
here?
I didn't. I was born and raised in Austin, Texas. I grew up in a small town right outside of Austin and graduated from a high school called Lago Vista. Once I graduated, I actually went on to Florida and I spent 2 years there. And I transferred to University of Central Arkansas. Once I transferred, I just kind of fell in love with Conway. I met a boy here, and then of course I happened to stumble upon 365 Fitness, and I've been here for 8 years, and I absolutely love it.
Okay, so you sort of mentioned your athletic background a little bit, talking about powerlifting. Did you keep up with gym sports, I guess the way to say it, through this time, going through college and everything?
Could you say that one more time? Sorry.
Yeah, this is being a little finicky right now. I was going to ask about your involvement in the gym through the time of going to Florida and college back here. Pretty steadily involved in the...
So are you talking about in terms of 365 Fitness, this gym, or just in terms of a training aspect with my own training?
Sort of a training aspect. What all were you doing through your time in Florida and then at UCA? Was it just strictly building type stuff?
Yeah, so essentially I began training. I was actually a member here at 365 Fitness. Gosh, I guess that's been like 9 years ago. Well, exercise and fitness and weight training came my life long before bodybuilding did, I guess you could say. So what I did is I began training here at 365 Fitness, fell in love with atmosphere, took it upon myself. I actually went to the Arnold Classic in 2011. 2012. I was already in prep for my first show, which was the Ronnie Coleman Classic in Mesquite, Texas. And I fell in love with the sport and the industry, and I fell in love with like the Arnold Classic. That was my first experience there. And at that point, I made it upon myself to eventually step on stage, which later I did in 2017. But it was really kind of neat because I came back, I did my first show, and then I just consumed my life with bodybuilding, I guess. And then I slowly just kind of evolved and took it upon myself to get better. And I did. I started to get better. I started originally in bikini, in the bikini division, and I just continued to train and train and train. And eventually there was a time where if I wanted to do well in the sport, I had to go up in a division, right? So I initially about doing figure, and then from that point forward, I was like, I don't want to do figure. I think I would be better suited in physique, and I like the idea of a posing routine. I enjoy the format, so that's what I did. I took it upon myself to go ahead and go to women's physique. Jose Raymond, who is, he was initially the person that kind of pushed me. He told me, he said, you're basically screwing yourself if you stay in bikini. So he's the one that kind of made that final push to put me in physique, and that's what I did.
Okay. Being on the men's side of things a little bit, I'm not completely as involved with the different divisions in female. How would you best describe the differences in those, and what do you think the judges are really looking for there?
So in terms of the different divisions, of course, you have, within the women's divisions, you have women's bikini, which of course, I essentially think of a women's bikini division being with the ideal, like, female, I guess you could say, what their physique is going to be, I guess, what they think the ideal woman should look like, right? So I think curves made them like muscle development, but no striations. So you don't want to see separation within the muscle. You don't want to see an overly hard or, I guess, dry physique. Nothing super vascular. Those are all kind of words that you're not going to use when it comes to a women's bikini competitor. And then from there, it kind of just evolves, right? You have women's figure, which is a little bit more developed. You got more of like a taper, wide back, nice round shoulders, small waist, full legs. And then, of course, you have women's physique, which is, but the muscle mass, of course, and the development of the muscle is a little bit more extreme at that point, too. However, you still want to keep it feminine and pretty and aesthetic, so you don't want to go too extreme, and mass isn't going to win you a show necessarily in women's physique. You don't want to be a mass monster in the women's physique division.
Okay. I think that was well said. How sort of was your shows? You said bikini. Did you just fairly quickly move up in the division?
Yeah. So I did women's bikini actually in 2012, and I competed at the Ronnie Coleman Classic. At that point, I really wasn't familiar with the NPC. And I stepped on stage, and I had, like, in my height class, I had 32 girls in my height class. And I didn't think anything of it. A show at that time, it was like, they set a record for, like, the biggest NPC show in Texas. And I was just there to kind of have a good time. Like, went out on stage, did my thing. Not that I didn't want to, like, do well, but I was just having fun, enjoying the process. And a girl that was there backstage, she was like, you got top 5, and I was like, oh, I did, and I did. Well, and at that point, I was like 100 pounds on stage, if that, maybe just under. And I went on, I later did the Dallas Europa later that year, and then I did 2 more B shows following that. And I would do well, but not really, like I would maybe place top 5, and that I did the St. Louis amateur show, in 2014, I guess, 2014, and I didn't place. I didn't make top 5, and I was just too big at that point. I knew it was coming, and that was kind of like the stepping stone where I was like, if I want to win shows, obviously I have to be in the division that's suited for me, and bikini wasn't that.
I get that. So how was that progression, and what were some of those national shows look like, and I guess when exactly did you win your pro card? Can you tell us about that? Okay, so
I decided, like I said, I was going to do women's figure initially. Well, whenever I decided that I didn't want to do figure, I did women's physique. So I did my first physique show in 2014 in Arkansas. And I won. So I won the overall show in the Arkansas State show, and I went on a few weeks later, and I competed at Pittsburgh at North Americans, and I missed my pro card by one placement at that point. I would say that I was a little bit disappointed. It was my first national show, so I didn't know what to expect. I just wanted to step up on hers and see where I stood among them. So I did that. And then in 2015, I went and I competed in Boston and did a warm-up show, won the overall there, and I competed at Junior USA, and I got second place. So I lost the placement. So drained at that point, so exhausted. It was a very hard prep for me. And at that point, I was the most conditioned that I'd ever been. So I was bringing my best package, and Junior Nationals was a few weeks away. Well, in all honesty, I had every intention not to do it because I was so tired, depleted, felt just like terrible. And I had so many people in my corner pushing me, saying that I needed to do it. Well, I did. I went on to Junior Nationals in Chicago in 2015, and I won the overall show. So I'm very happy that I did that, obviously, because I, would have had to wait another year, maybe not even have gotten my pro card in 2016. But I'm really glad that I won. I toughed it out for the last few weeks, and I came out on top, and I actually would have preferred to win an overall.
Okay, well, I agree with that. Then you definitely have some momentum going into this pro show. So what was that sort of like? When did you do your first pro show?
So I did my first pro show in St. Louis in 2016, and I got second place there. I was, I maybe think my placement could have been first, but it was just my first pro show at that point, and I was there for the experience, to have fun, but I did want to win, I think we all want to win, you start to get to a point and you suffer in prep, and that's how I felt, but ultimately I was really happy with the experience. I was happy with my presentation and the package that I brought. And then I went on, I did the Arnold, and I got fourth place at the Arnold, which in my opinion is my best placement as a pro. I seem to always get second place, like always fall short for whatever reason. But, even though Arnold is like my worst placement as a pro, it's arguably my placement because, that's such an elite show, and stepping on that stage and bringing the package that I brought was my all-time favorite.
Okay. You can sort of either address this on the pro level or just sort of in the bigger shows to get your pro card. What were some of the bigger things that helped you, and who was around you, or what were some of the practices that really made that possible?
I really had a great support group. Whenever I first started, it wasn't that I didn't support. I had great support. It was new for all of us. So my boyfriend, Anthony, and I, we were very new to everything, very familiar with fitness and exercise and nutrition, that aspect, but we kind of didn't know what to expect from a bodybuilding standpoint, especially a bikini division, So at that point, we kind of just, I would watch YouTube religiously and learn how to pose based off YouTube, and I would practice all the time, over and over again. Well, whenever I competed in bikini, I didn't have a coach. We just kind of prepped myself and went along with it. Well, in 2014, Raymond and I were both associated with iForce Nutrition, and we were shooting, and that's when he told me, "You're screwing yourself if you stay in bikini. You're too good. You're too divisions." Well, the St. Louis show was the next week, so I essentially was like, "Well, I'm just going to compete here, obviously, because I'm going anyways." So that's what we did, and after that, I took it upon myself immediately to get back into Jose, and he began coaching me immediately for the physique division.
Okay, so we'll go back